most romantic city in Canada. Clipper round trip and overnight hotel stay from only $128 at clippervacations.com.
You are in control of the show. Choose your news on the Candy, Mike and Todd Show. Mike and Todd Show.
It is the Candy, Mike and Todd Show. It's a game where the points don't matter all that much, although I think I'm ahead. Well, with all due respect, Mike was gone, so he didn't have an opportunity to compete, although your bot just about beat me. That was pretty funny.
Yep, my bot's my better half.
Choose your news. We're each going to pitch a news story, and you then will decide what you want to hear at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Speaking of the 4 o'clock hour, Justice Clarence Thomas is committed to writing an opinion that's going to freak some journalists out and some famous people, and it's going to freak a lot of people out. And it has to do with libel, so we'll talk about that. Mike, would you like to start with this segment of Choose Your News, your pitch?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what if you could know which slot machine was right for a payoff if you went into a casino? But better, what if you could actually sit at that machine and just by being there, you could radically improve its jackpot odds? This is a story about, if you like this sort of thing, this is a story about a professional referee who appears to have changed the games to win his own bets. This is in the U.S. in one of our most popular sports leagues.
You know what? I read a story and talked about it on the Aaron KIRO once about a team of people who figured out how to rig slot machines, and they figured it out how to do it with hardware that you just put on the machine.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Right. Now, that sounds fascinating. If you want to hear Mike's story, and he's too humble to ask, text Mike's story to 98973.
Mike Lewis!
Yeah!
Mike.
That's Candy Bot. All right, here's my story. So for only $250, well, that you'll have to pay, you're going to be told that you have to send part of yourself to a government. Yes, there's a state that is looking at passing a law where you'd have to send part of you to them, plus pay them $250 so they could look at that part of you. If you want to hear that story, text Todd's story to 98973. We just talked to the GeekWire guy. I just came up with a whole bunch of new uses. You know what Amazon should probably do is listen to the next 30 seconds. Here you go. There's these glasses, these Alexa glasses, a couple of use cases. Identify a person who has a fever, right? The glasses look at them, see the signs of a fever, scan a line to see if you're going to make it through that line, or determine whether or not the person you are seeing is showing physiological signs of being interested in you. If they did that, they could jack up the price of those glasses, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. People would buy them. They got the use case all wrong. It's not reading text messages. No one wants that. You can do that on your phone. Give me, intellectual
Biometric
superpowers.
data from people around you.
Biometric data, and then signs of data. Like also, like if a cop's coming to the car, right away give a scan, good mood, bad mood. Right? So that you can have all this sort of input. They're not doing this the right way. And if I start seeing these things show up, But what do you do with that information? If a cop is approaching your car and it's good mood or bad mood, I'm probably going to respond in identical ways and relatively respectful. I'm going to be respectful, but I'd open with a joke. On the good mood, I'd open with, hey.
But why not a bad mood? And maybe open with a joke and make them laugh and bring their mood up.
No.
So what you really want is actually changing mood.
Yeah.
You want a real time, like how much more unhappy is this cop getting as you talk to him?
Right.
That would actually be helpful.
I had a friend of mine who once I witnessed it in the state of Virginia get out of a ticket because the officer came up to the car, and my buddy rolls in the window and he goes, I bet you're wondering why I asked you to come here. Cracked up. It was a good one. So,
I got out of one once by telling a cop, he asked why I was speeding on the motorcycle, and I said, exuberance. And he actually started laughing, and he said, I said, it's been the first good weather in weeks. He said, I agree.
I like it. He let you go. We'll come back, find out who won Choose Your News. You want my story, 98973. Text Todd's story, Mike. Text Mike's story to 98973. Tracy Taylor will now give us the traffic report brought to you by the Emerald Queen Casino.
So I'm just hearing from Washington State Ferries that the Samish is running about an hour behind schedule from some earlier delays due to marine traffic. Let's talk about a Southline Sounder train 1507. That train was delayed about 10 minutes in Kent due to freight interference. We have got a lot of blocking problems. Let me be real here. We had an earlier wreck on Southland 5 at Porter Way. That crash has finally cleared out of the way. However, you've got a 3-mile lineup behind that. We are still working with the stalled out bus, Southland 5 from Grandview Road. Drivers are not going to be able to get by this because it's entirely blocking that ramp. Cleared our wreck on Southland 5 at 70th and 5. However, a new wreck on westbound 516 or the Kent Des Moines Road out near I-5. It is blocking that ramp. You can use the ramp once you get past this stalled out semi. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here at 4:03. Traffic brought to you by Emerald Queen Casino, welcoming the Isley Brothers March 16th. Rock and soulful legends that started it all. The Isley Brothers March 16th, only at the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. KIRO Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Tracy Taylor.
This is Dave Ross. Wednesday morning, historian Felix Bunnell looks back at the first big Puget Sound snowstorm of the social media age. We get the latest from Congressman Derek Kilmer on when we should see some federal money for roads and bridges, and Hannah Scott on what should happen to people who make up hate crime reports. Wednesday on Seattle's Morning News.
On KIRO Radio, 97.3 FM.
News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
You ever wonder how those people make money when the market goes down? You hear them talk about short selling or taking a short position, or you hear phrases like naked puts. You hear these things, you know people make money this way. It's tempting to think, well, they're just a lot smarter than us. Hey, factually, there's some people on Wall Street who are really, really good at math, they're quants, etc. But there's some people who sit in front of screens all day. They look at trends. They act on those trends, not with emotion, but with a system that guides them. And these guys make incredible money for their employers and for themselves. Now, if you can look at a screen, you can stay within the rules. You don't need to do it all day because you only do it for yourself. The Online Trading Academy has the patented system. It's a lot like the one they use on Wall Street. More importantly, they've got mentors, people who've changed their life so they do this on their own. The payoff? Well, you trade your own money, you save an incredible amount of money on fees, which can speed your way to wealth or retirement. Good news is you can learn all about this in a free workshop. Yeah, it is free. They're coming to Federal Way, Woodinville, Puyallup, Bellevue, and Sumner. To get into one of the free workshops of the Online Trading Academy, text Todd, T-O-D-D, to 57682. That's Todd, T-O-D-D, to 57682.
So, Dina, ever figure out your family vacation this year?
We're booking a celebrity cruise. They're having this incredible 2020 sale right now.
2020 sale? What do you get?
If you book now, you can go almost anywhere in the world with just a $20 deposit. And you get up to 20% off your flights.
Wait, just $20 down and up to 20% off flights on a celebrity cruise?
That's right, the best premium cruise line. And now they have book now, pay later airfares, so you don't have to put any money down on flights either.
Seriously?
And you can combine all this with Celebrity's latest offers. You'll save hundreds and get free perks, even on Celebrity Edge, which, by the way, was just voted best new ship.
So, where are you going? Europe, the Caribbean, Alaska?
With this sale, maybe all of the above.
You know, we could use a family getaway. Or two.
Just go to Celebrity.com, call 1-800-CELEBRITY, or talk to your travel advisor.
Offer expires February 19th and applies to select flights and sailings. Savings vary by stateroom category. Other terms apply. Ships Registry, Malta.
Dave Smith's annual February Blitz sale is on now. Save up to $10,900 on new Chevy trucks. Find new roads. Shop over 250 new Chevy Silverado trucks. Shop the Northwest's largest GM dealer. DaveSmiths.com.
KIRO-FM, Tacoma, Seattle.
Low prices just got lower with hundreds of rollbacks at Walmart. If you've been putting off buying that 4K Ultra HD TV, those new Goodyear tires, or the latest smartphone, now's the time to shop. Because Walmart has all that and more on rollback. Just visit your local Walmart or walmart.com.
The Northwest Flower and Garden Festival is back, and it's bigger and more exciting than ever. Explore gardens of the world, take home unique art, and everything for your deck and garden. Enjoy over 100 free how-to seminars. Plus, see the adventurous new 2018 RAV4 Hybrid, built for the weekend escape at the Western Washington Toyota Dealers Display. The Northwest Flower and Garden Festival, February 20th through the 24th at the Washington State Convention Center. Buy tickets online and save at gardenshow.com, courtesy of Bradford White Water Heaters.
Seattle Opera invites you to The Revolution of Steve Jobs. When faced with his mortality, the visionary Apple co-founder revisits memories in search of one moment to take with him. Featuring a Grammy-winning score, visually stunning staging, and universal themes of human connection, the 90-minute theatrical event takes you behind the headlines into the inner life of an American legend. The Revolution of Steve Jobs, February 23rd through March 9th at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
Hey,
Hey, everybody. It's Ursula Reutin, and I'm here with Dr. Andrew Ross, a gastroenterologist with Virginia Mason, and we're talking about something called GERD. Dr. Ross, what exactly is GERD?
GERD stands for gastroesophageal reflux disease. It's a chronic condition that causes acid reflux into your esophagus, causing a lot of discomfort from heartburn, sore throat, trouble swallowing, even chest pain.
How's it treated?
Oftentimes, a dietary or lifestyle change can alleviate symptoms. There are also medications that can be prescribed, and sometimes surgery is necessary.
Beyond the discomfort, are there any long-term issues that can crop up for people who have GERD?
Yes, it's important to treat, as in rare cases, chronic GERD can lead to esophageal cancer. You'll want to be seen by a doctor if you are suffering from any of the symptoms we discussed.
Thank you, Dr. Ross. You can call the world-renowned Virginia Mason Digestive Disease Institute or find them online at virginiamason.org/GERD.
Brought to you by Blue Emu. Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Find them at blue-emu.com.
KIRO Radio, 97.3 FM. Online at mynorthwest.com and streaming on the KIRO Radio app. KIRO FM, Tacoma, Seattle. News and talk. Powered by the Pacific Northwest.
A winter storm is brewing up trouble for the busy Northeast corridor.
From D.C. up through New York City.
Bernie Sanders says he's back.
I am running for president.
President Trump has a goal for next week's summit with North Korea's Kim.
Denuclearization.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition, sponsored by the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Tens of millions of Americans could be in trouble from a powerful storm system that's expected to spread ice and snow from the upper Midwest to the mid-Atlantic and then through the Northeast. Weather Service meteorologist Jim Hayes.
Low pressure is developing across portions of the center part of the country, and what will happen is ahead of that storm that tracks across portions of the Tennessee Valley into the Ohio Valley, snow will break out across portions of the mid-Atlantic states, moving into the New York City metropolitan area very late tonight and during the morning hours on Wednesday.
Travel likely to be treacherous through that busy Northeast corridor.
It looks like the heaviest snow from the D.C. to New York City corridor occurs during Wednesday morning, and during that time, snow could be falling heavily and will likely impact the morning commute along that corridor.
On the warm side of that storm, heavy rain's been falling through southern parts of the Ohio and Tennessee River valleys. The already crowded field of candidates running for president grew by one today as Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders joined the race to be the Democrats' nominee. Nicole Killian reports.
The independent senator from Vermont says his 2020 campaign for president will be a continuation of his 2016 run, when he mounted a significant challenge to the Democratic establishment.
In 2016, many of the ideas that I talked about, all of those ideas and many more are now part of the political mainstream.
In an interview with CBS This Morning's John Dickerson, the 77-year-old progressive says he's okay if people call him a radical.
U.S. Special Envoy to North Korea Stephen Biegun is off to Vietnam to make final preparations for next week's second summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The president says his bottom line is getting Pyongyang to end its nuclear program.
I think that North Korea and Chairman Kim have some very positive things in mind, and we'll soon find out. But I'm in no rush. There's no testing. As long as there's no testing, I'm in no rush. If there's testing, that's another deal.
Biegun was in North Korea earlier this month, a trip aimed at agreeing on concrete deliverables for the summit. And after the trip, he said it had been productive, but there was still a lot of hard work to do ahead of the talks. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gaining 8 points to 25,891 after a wild trading day that saw a 100-point swing in the Dow. It was up as much as 70 points. Now this.
Capital One Quicksilver Card. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. That's all there is to it. Just unlimited 1.5% cash back on everything you buy. What's in your wallet?
A new legal effort to help protect kids from bullies. That in just a moment. But first, Tracy Taylor has your KIRO Radio real-time traffic.
Oh, Jillian, I don't know where to start. The weather has really made a mess of our commute. First off, though, I just got an update from Washington State Ferries. Not only the Samish running about an hour behind schedule because of marine traffic, it looks like the Hyack is running about 25 minutes behind schedule because of marine traffic delays as well. So again, riders on the Anacortes San Juan ferry routes are going to run into some problems today. All right, let's talk about the wrecks. On Southland 5's on-ramp from Grandview, you got a stall there. That's blocking the ramp. 516 westbound on-ramp to Southbound I-5. That's a stalled out semi that's blocking the ramp. You can get back onto the ramp if you go by the semi, but it is definitely blocking a lane. Southbound 5 off-ramp to 41st and Everett, there's a crash that's blocking the ramp. It's busy, it's slow, and it's miserable on Southbound I-5 from just after Lake City all the way through the downtown corridor, down Boeing Field, and heading up South Center Hill. As a matter of fact, you really don't break free until you get past South 200th. I want to take a look at the Valley Freeway where that remains bumper to bumper, shy of 405 all the way out to 277th, and it's nothing but brake lights from Highway 18 into parts of Algona Pacific. Speaking of 18, it's slow heading eastbound at Auburn Way. Westbound as we approach I-5. The drive across the water is starting to ramp up on westbound 520. Out near the tunnel, or rather the Mount Baker Tunnel, you're going to find the drive through Tacoma to be challenging, not only on 512, but down around Joint Base Lewis McChord. More on that in about 10 minutes. Traffic brought to you by Fred Meyer. Race into savings now at the Fred Meyer Digital Coupon Event. Visit fredmeyer.com or the app for coupons you can use 5 times in one transaction at Fred Meyer. KIRO Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Tracy Taylor.
Now, from the KIRO Radio Newsroom and streaming on the KIRO Radio app.
There's a renewed push in Olympia to strengthen anti-bullying policies in schools, specifically to protect transgender students.
Democratic Senator Marco Lias says it's clear there's a need.
4 in 10 transgender students report physical abuse at school.
Several transgender students shared their own experiences with the Senate committee yesterday.
They banged on the bathroom stall, called me names, and shoved me to the ground. I got beaten up so badly that I ended up in the hospital.
Jill Davison is a school psychologist and a transgender woman and says the bottom line is
this bill will save lives.
Lias's bill would require all districts to update their policies for transgender students. He says the idea is to make sure school is a safe place for all students so they can focus on the education.
KIRO Radio's Hannah Scott. A bill that would put an end to personal exemptions for the measles vaccine has passed a key state House committee. Washington is one of 18 states that still allows parents to opt out of vaccines for personal or philosophical reasons, in addition to religious and medical exemptions. An outbreak of the measles in southwest Washington has sickened 62 people just this year alone, mostly unvaccinated children. Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan laid out an ambitious vision for the Emerald City, growing transit, educational opportunities, and affordable housing.
We will continue to be creative and leverage our tens of millions of dollars in new affordable housing investments, including moving forward on redeveloping Fort Lawton to create housing opportunities for low-income seniors, veterans, and families.
In her State of the City address today, Durkan says she hopes to pass a mandatory housing affordability measure by the end of the year, which would allow developers to build higher in exchange for keeping a set number of units affordable. City officials in Burien are looking for volunteers to help them reopen their severe weather shelter. They've been open for nearly 2 weeks without a break to help people escape the cold and snow, but to stay open, they need volunteers to help clean before they reopen their doors tomorrow night. Now let's get your forecast.
Showers tapering into the overnight and into early tomorrow morning. We could have some pretty low snow levels, though. Morning temperatures in the 30s, highs tomorrow in the 40s. I'm KIRO 7 Chief Meteorologist Morgan Palmer.
43 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery.
From Renton to Ravenna, this is KIRO Radio 97.3 FM.
News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
This is the Candy, Mike, and Todd Show on KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. 97.3 FM.
Yep, it's that, except Candy is not here. And we do have this.
No, I'd rather go home than listen to that.
Yeah, it's the Candy Bots. So we're going to get to Who Won Choose Your News at the end of the 3 o'clock hour. Mike and I each pitched you a news story. You got to vote. We'll get to the winner coming up this hour. Right now, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way the law stands, people who are determined to be public figures, they have a higher barrier to claim that they've been libeled.
Yeah, there's a larger burden of proof for them because they're out in the public sphere. And it's a New York Times v. Sullivan ruling in the 1960s that you have to meet a higher standard if you're a public figure to claim that someone has libeled you.
Yeah, so in effect, it's sort of, you could argue it's easier to libel, or maybe safer to libel, to be more accurate, safer to libel a public figure than it is an ordinary human being.
No, because you're not libeling them if it's not found to be libelous.
Right, okay.
Right, so is it safer to criticize? Absolutely. Is it safer to parody? Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So that's the journalistic view of it. And it's interesting because a Supreme Court justice has said we should revisit that. Be a fascinating discussion. We'll get into that. But let's do this. Let's figure out who is the winner.
Did everyone agree with you? Let's find out. Choose your news on the Candy, Mike, and Todd Show.
So we got a couple text messages. Text message from the 425. I want Mike to teach me how to win more money at the casinos. Mike all the way. So, Mike, that's a lot of pressure on you, and I don't feel good about that. From the 253, Todd's story. Mine is about a government is going to charge you $250, make you send a part of yourself to them. Todd's story, I really mean it. What's this world coming to? From the 253. I want more candy box.
No, I'd rather go home than listen to that.
Let's figure out who the winner is.
A winner!
Is
Mike Lewis, winner for today.
Mike, you won. Now look what we have for you here, Mike Lewis. Remember this smattering of applause?
Really, I don't deserve it.
Nice.
See, you get a full applause. So, Mike, I have fourth.
Well, that's because I gamed the system.
Yes, you did.
Which is a little bit of what we're talking about right now.
You were accused of fraud yesterday. People said you have friends.
Yeah, that's true. I have friends. Well, so here's another person with friends, but maybe the wrong kind of friends. And if you like heist films, you're going to want to read this story. This is in today's, actually in ESPN. If you just do a simple search for Tim Donaghy, Donaghy, right? Donaghy. You will be pleasantly surprised. This story is fascinating. Now, if you remember this guy, he was an NBA ref who got busted a few years ago, did some federal time for betting on games. It turns out that the story was much deeper and more pervasive than anyone realized. He was actually not only betting on games, he was fixing the spread by how he called games. According to ESPN journalist, this is a dynamite investigative piece, and let me just read you just a small section of it. It says, it has names of people like Rhino and Sheep. Rhino Ruggieri was looking for bets made by an acquaintance from back home, a guy he knew from the golf course named Jack Colcannon. Back in Philly, Ruggieri had noticed that Colcannon's bet sizes were an order of magnitude higher on certain NBA games, and bets he won like Colcannon had never won before. Normally, this guy was a $100 bet guy or maybe a $500 bet guy, and now he's dropping thousands of dollars on very specific NBA games. And then he realized, hey, this guy has a buddy, and that buddy is an NBA ref. This story plays out like a dynamite heist film of an NBA ref who started making bets on his own games, started fixing his own games, got one friend involved, and then suddenly the bookies who they were dealing with, who were also not necessarily good guys, saw a betting pattern. They jumped on the backs of these bets and watched them go through, and that's how this became this massive, the biggest professional sports scandal in U.S. history, big as the White Sox scandal, although not as many players got affected because that one was about players. This one was about NBA refs. But if you've ever watched a game and ever thought, man, the fix is in, there's a chance you might be right.
So about this guy from the 425, you said you're going to teach him how to win money.
I am going to teach him how to win money if he's got a friendly NBA ref who is a close friend. I mean, this is the great fear of sports, of professional sports, because in some sports, basketball being one of them, football being one of them, the refs can have an enormous amount of influence.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can say a home plate umpire might have the same influence on the way they call a strike zone, but those two sports in particular are seen as sports where if you get a ref on your side or you know where a ref's tendencies are, and they do bet the tendencies anyway, if you know what a ref is going to do, and if this ref has actually told you what he's going to do, all you have to do is cover the spread to make a lot of money. So there you go. If you have the right friends and you are willing to risk, an FBI investigation, go for it.
Only one time in my life that I have a ref, and he admitted it. It was in a wrestling match, 9th grade. I pinned the guy. I knew I pinned him. The guy wouldn't slap him, wouldn't indicate that he was pinned. Afterwards, I went over to him, and I was in 9th grade. I just put my hands up, like, what'd you do? And he said, oh, it's nothing to do with you. I can't stand your coach.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, and I felt a lot better at that point. Oh, okay, so it's just Mr. Allen you can't stand. He admitted that in the hallway, but it was like, a kid and a ref. But that's not a $1 billion, $1 million, $100 million thing.
So if you want to read more about this story, look at ESPN. If you don't want to read more about this story, it's going to end up in a movie theater. It is that good.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. I get to do my losing story. A state wants to force you to send in your DNA. I'll tell you which states. Coming up, bunch of train delays, a overpass. This is the thing I've forever wanted to fly my car over traffic. So finally, there's an opportunity to fly our car over traffic. So we'll get
done that before, though, Todd.
Yes, I have, Tracy Taylor. Now, would you step into the spotlight and bring us a traffic report brought to us by Chevrolet of Puyallup?
Okay, so first off, let's talk about